church at the bar. You're about to enter.
Get down on your knees, cross your hands, close your eyes, ask God, help you understand.
I'm casting all my cares to you. Casting all my cares unto you, Lord.
You're about to enter.
Down on my knees,
Church at the bar.
cross my hands, close my eyes, ask God, help me understand what I'm going through. I'm just a man. It's a hard road, but it's all in God's plan.
You're about to enter church at the bar, meeting people where they are.
Today's conversation is based on two scriptures which touch on sexual immorality. The first found in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7, verses 1 through 40, and the second also found in the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 18.
Welcome to Church at the Bar, meeting people where they are. Today, we are once again with my lovely cousins, my cousin Robin.
Hey.
My cousin Crystal.
Hey.
My good friend James, the Reverend James Mack, the Mack of God. And then we have the wonderful Kyle here, who is the Michael Jackson of gospel rap, and he has graced us with his presence on today. Today we're talking about celibacy in 2022. Now, my cousin here is Christian. We all Christian here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so we follow Christ, and we know what the Bible says about celibacy. Now, I'm going to preface this conversation by saying before I got married, I was a virgin. I walked the walk. I had many opportunities not to be.
I'm sorry, what does the Bible say about celibacy?
Well, the Bible basically tells us that we should be waiting till marriage to have sex. Okay. Thank you for that question. For everybody that doesn't know.
I'm sorry.
So, no. That was good. So the Bible says that we should be waiting till marriage to have sex. But it's 2022. And I mean, nobody said this. I would pretty much say this is like the sex generation almost. I mean, the 70s was like the drug generation. This is the sex generation. So how are Christians in 2022 who have vowed celibacy or who are just virgins and you know, how does that work when you're dating? Does it work in 2022? Is it possible? I'll save my opinion for the end, but what say you? I'm gonna ask the gentlemen, cause you know, us ladies, we really, I feel like we could do it easier than y'all if we wanted to. That's how I'm feeling.
I'm gonna let you go first.
But gentlemen,
Let you go first.
what say you?
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 I would have to say we all are sinners, all of us.
Right.
You know, and in this life, some of us may fall. And when I say that, I would say that it's possible. And it's encouraged, strongly encouraged to do so. And because I'm a minister of the gospel, I would actually strongly advise us to be celibate. However, we know that most people these days living in this, this current times that we are in, we have so much pointing us in a direction to do the opposite.
Right.
So if you ask me today, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. How is it possible? You have to be in your word. When I say the word, you have to be in the Bible. You have to talk to God and have that personal relationship with God. But not only that, you have all these outside influences.
Right.
Family, friends, our own experiences.
Right. So you feel like it's possible in 2022?
It's up to the person, to the individual.
What say you, Kyle?
MJ?
Yeah, MJ.
I would say it's possible. So I will be married 2 years come Sunday.
Oh my God! Wait, let me get the crowd applause going here. Will it go? It won't go. Oh my God. I missed the opportunity. Go ahead, Kyle.
There it is. So
There it is.
when I dated my wife, we dated for almost 3 years.
Okay.
A little more than 3 years. And
Okay.
we were celibate.
Okay.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. No relationship before that was I ever celibate.
That's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Ever.
Oh, okay.
That's
So it was your first time
amazing.
doing it.
It was my first time ever being
Now,
celibate.
okay. So let me ask you a question. Was it your wife's idea?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
when
how
I met-
how did you receive that when she was like,
So
"We gonna be celibate"?
I had been celibate for like a few months when I met her.
Okay.
Maybe 5 months.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
And it wasn't by. It was by choice, but I was like burnt out, so to speak. Like I had gotten married young.
Oh, okay. So you
First-
were married before. Okay.
And then divorced.
Okay.
And when I got divorced, I went like ham.
Right.
Like
right.
I was all like I was wild.
Right.
Like crazy. I was
Right.
everywhere.
Right.
Traveling all over the place, doing whatever I wanted with whoever
Right.
I wanted. And like that, it was great for a while. But then if like late at night, 2 a.m, like you're empty. You hated yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just felt low. And then my ex's family like wasn't honest about like their side of what happened. So like your name's getting run through the mud. It's like, yo, I just need to like
shucks.
Draining.
I'm drained.
Yeah.
Like I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm chilling out and I'm like, God, I need something different.
Yeah.
So I was like, I've never done this. Then I started reading this book called it was Devon Franklin and Megan Good's The Wait book.
Okay.
And that was out around that time. So I had like was interested in it. I was watching all like the interviews and stuff that they had on it about it.
Yeah.
Met my now wife and she was like, first date, she was like, this is how I feel, this is where I'm at. And I was like, well, I've been doing it for 5 months. We can see how
We
it
can
goes.
keep it going.
We can see how it goes.
Perfect.
And then we read the first book we read together. We read a book called The Wait. And we really like kind of tapped in.
Yeah.
And 3 years later, like we were still like, we became very, 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 very close.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Yeah.
But we never crossed that line, and
Discipline.
it was discipline. And then during that time, like we both really started tapping into like our purpose and like what God had for us. Tapping into the gym and fitness, tapping it like to burn off
Keeping
that
yourself
energy.
occupied.
So I was going to the gym like 5 times a week.
You was in good shape.
I was always in the studio.
You was in good
So-
celibacy shape.
So because you have to do something else with that time and that energy.
With that energy.
Like you can't be in, and we had to set like crazy boundaries. So I'm not sleeping over your place. You're not sleeping over my, like, cause how? I can't be in the bed with you 2 a.m. and be like, I'm gonna be celibate. Like it's not logical for me.
For you.
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
I
So
got you.
we set those boundaries and we made it happen. But that was in like we met in 2016, 3 years now too. But that was 2016. That's not 2020.
That's not 2022. But you feel like you could do it now. You would do it again.
We did it, and
That's
I
amazing.
hear of people that are doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like it's possible.
Okay. And okay, so what do the ladies have to say?
I think people, I think it can be done. You know, I think we do whatever we want to do.
Right.
And an example of that, if that wasn't true, we'd all be living the same life.
True.
We all live different life. We all do different things when we do it, when we want to do it. We all stop things. We all have different jobs in which they have different rules for that. So the discipline is there, is that we focus on things that we want to focus on and make emphasis of things we want to, like, it's right now, sex is the big thing now,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So, and big bucks
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right.
So to not look at it, it would just be like, you don't see that, you know? Yeah, I mean,
Right. Right.
what's the difference between this butt and the hippopotamus? It's
Right.
still, the butts still look the same.
Right.
Put a wig on it, make it like a human. And so you know, you get me. So it's really not about the butt. It's just about what you make it.
What you make of it?
Yeah, what you make of it, for real, for real. So can we not do this. Yeah, we can do that. Like he said, we was doing different things.
Right.
You know, we got other things. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we can. We go to the gym. Our focus is different. See, if we make our focus on this,
That's true. That's true.
We not now. Listen, if that's the case, the dogs will be doing it every 5 minutes.
Right.
You know?
So we have to watch what we put our focus on. If we continue to focus on maybe sex or be tempted by sex, then it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
So we have to fix our focus a certain way.
Other things,
Right.
Like we do
Like our
in
brothers.
everyday life.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know, we ain't gonna go to our job if we did smoke in the L. We have
This is true.
discipline
You're gonna
not
have
to walk
discipline
in there.
because you don't want to
We
get
gonna have
fired.
discipline not to
Discipline.
smell. We
Discipline.
gonna have discipline not
Right.
to. When we go
Right.
to see a lawyer or something, we gonna stand up. We ain't gonna say, "Oh, I'm what up, Bernie Mac from H Town." You know, like who? What? Stand up.
You have
sit
some
down.
type of Yeah, that's true.
So
true.
we know how to act. We just, I don't know. We just pick and choose because we know that we can do it.
Right.
So
Right.
I think not
we could do it.
not holding sex in that high regard. I think it's probably maybe a big reason that some marriages end so quickly. Cause I feel like we just make it like an ornament. And it's not an ornament at all. We just like make it on like, oh, I'm just put this here. Oh, it's been 2 months, so that's good enough. You know what I mean? And it's not really an ornament. And then so it takes the connection that God intended in it kind of out of it. You know, and it makes people feel like, probably I hear men maybe saying this more than women, but I hear women saying it too. It's like, well, it was just sex.
No,
It's not just. It's not.
What? Who you was what?
Because I mean, like biblically, if we talking about like back in the Bible, you had sex with somebody.
I'm
That's the
afraid not.
consummation of your marriage. Like that's y'all married if y'all did that. You know, spiritually speaking. So
Spirit to spirit.
Spirit to spirit. Yeah. So it's like we kind of make it an ornament. And I think that's probably why. People would say in today's day it's hard or impossible. When I was doing my whole vow of virginity before marriage, and people would find out, they would say, "Oh, that's so unrealistic." And they would say that when I was younger, telling them that I wanted to do that, they would say, well, you're not going to be able to make it to the, because you don't know how old you're going to be when you get married. And what if it's, what if you're 35? Or what if, like you're not going to be able to do, they had all these comments. But back to what you said, whatever we focus on, we can do. If you decide that you want to do something, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just that. I will say, though, it's not that if you have sex outside of marriage, you're getting any less grace than someone else in Christ Jesus who doesn't. That's the beautiful grace of God.
That's the
Because he loves us.
Because he loves us no matter what we do. Not to say that that's just giving us a right to just be like, well, I'm going to just do whatever I want because God don't care anyway. But he does give us grace.
And look, we can't control ourselves. Because if that was the case, every man would be sticking up like this all day.
That's the...
If you couldn't. You know how many pretty women is out
true.
here?
That's
if
true.
you really couldn't control yourself and
true.
sex was just like it was,
That's
everybody be like...
Yes.
Everybody be at attention every day. But that's not the case.
So you can control yourself
So
when
you
you
can
want
control.
to.
This is true. This is true.
I agree.
That was a good example, wasn't it?
This is very an excellent
yeah.
example.
Absolutely. It would be.
I feel like I have a lot of different kinds of friends, and and lately I've been having a lot of conversations with people that I know who talk about not just sex before marriage. That's in 2022. That's like, I don't know, it's like expected. To take it a step further though, it's like people are talking about having like threesomes and foursomes and that type of stuff being swinging and all that type of
No,
stuff.
we're not talking about addiction. 'Cause
Right.
Some people have problems.
They have problems.
They're just.
But I'm finding now, like when I talk to young people and they're you know, talking about the relationships that they're in, the serious relationships that they're in, it's like sex is a given. It's like the thing that would be taboo now is like, oh, well, we want to try a threesome. Or, oh, we want to, you know what I mean? And it just takes it back to the point of sex being like an ornament now. It's like, oh, we're just going to do this.
It's not valued.
It's not valued. It's not. I mean, I will say when I was dating, being a virgin,
For real.
when I was dating, being a virgin, even men that were Christian men, I got a lot of comments about that because men don't necessarily want to do it.
Right.
I mean, that's just facts.
Yeah.
You know, from my experience.
And that's true. Like before my wife, I had no interest in it.
Yeah.
And
right.
I would lie. She's like, I would meet a girl. She'd be like, I'm celibate too. I didn't know what it meant. So I would be celibate. We'd be there late one night.
Yeah, I celibate too.
Yeah.
I celibate too.
So
I sell a little bit. Say no.
It was just, you just went through and I guess for me, then it became almost like a game, like a challenge. Like, oh, your morals that high, really? Let's see.
Right.
And most people's morals really weren't that high, and most people really weren't. But then some people are like celibate, like on paper, where it's like they'll tell everybody they're celibate,
but they're not. But they're not actually.
But they really getting it in.
They're really getting it all the way in.
But you could tell, and for me, I could just tell. It's like you're not really living what you say. So.
Right.
And you know what? And to piggyback off of what Robin said, like, we do what we want.
Yeah.
So that is it is very true. And then it's also like, where are your as far as sex, right? Like an ornament.
Right.
How do you
look at it?
How is it placed?
Yeah.
What is your opinion? Like for me, I feel like sexual encounters open up a door to spirits.
They do.
Other people's energies.
They do.
A lot of their baggage, past life baggage, because these are the things that I believe. So I don't want those doors opened up for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Those are the things that keep me. You know, of course, we're human. So at the end of the day, like that is a part of, you know, our being, our makeup, you know, to have sex. It's not completely taboo. However, it's just the thought of those energies, because everyone you lay down with carries a different set, not just an energy, a different set of energies.
Facts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could be wondering why, you know, in the past, like say for instance, prior to maybe being married, hitting a celibacy point, and then you encounter, say if someone they have multiple sex partners, they might have 2 or 3 people that they're dealing with at one time.
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of people who are and who have done that, I notice a lot of things. They go through a lot of mental anguish. There's a lot of changes that I notice that they go through.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not, you know, I'm not judging anyone out there who's listening that may be, because I don't want anyone to feel, you know, judged who would watch this. However, I do notice that there are people who do have multiple sex partners, and I do notice that there's a lot of up and down. There's a lot of, it's something that I can't quite put my finger on, but I believe it has a lot to do with that exchange of energies and that portal. It opens a portal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
And
that's real. It's go ahead.
So I would say, like, just to piggyback on what you're saying, if you think now, right? If now is like the sex generation, like you're saying, think about how many mental health is also like the biggest thing now amongst like people in like their early 20s and Like when I was in like my early 20s, like I never thought about like some of the same, like you would hear it, but it was rare. And just to piggyback on what you're saying, like having multiple partners or being like super free sexually opens you up to all these other spirits. Why do you think so many people are depressed? Why do you think so many people deal with suicidal thoughts? Why do you think so many people deal with a lot of things that they deal with? It's because what you open yourself up to. And for some people, sometimes you have sex with the wrong person and it takes your life on a course that you were never meant to go. I can't remember the name of the movie, but the guy Lance Gross, I want to say, is like the actor. He's like an actor, model, whatever. He's in a movie and he's married to a girl, and the girl ends up cheating with like the CEO of his company.
Oh.
And so she cheats with him and then goes like on this wild life.
Oh, I think I saw. Yeah,
and then
yeah.
But at the end, she ends up getting AIDS.
Yeah.
From the guy.
From the guy. Yeah.
Living like sleeping with whoever.
Oh,
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
With Journey Smollett.
Journey
Smollett. Yeah.
So,
What's the name of that movie?
It's called something about a temptation or something.
Temptation.
Yeah.
So she does that, and it takes her life down a course that she was probably never intended to.
Yeah.
And then Lance Gross realizes his dream, blows up, and then gets where he's getting. But it's like, had she stayed the course, this would have never happened. Now she has to live with this disease for the rest of her life because of what she opened herself up to. And I think people do that spiritually all the time.
Yeah.
And because of the low value people place on sex, it's like they have sex with anybody and think I'm good, but you're not good because you can't ever see like the seeds that are sown spiritually until they grow.
Minister Jane,
you know what I mean?
Real quick, when you said that, it's because your most vulnerable point, right? And intimacy is when you let down. You're not at your guard. You're relaxed.
Yes. You're open. You're most open.
Yeah.
You're most open.
You understand me? Yeah. So like that's the reason why it's easy for that, because that's your most vulnerable point. So anywhere in life, you have to be on guard. Right. You have to know who to have around you. You have to, you know what I mean? Yeah. But any part of your most vulnerable point. But since that is, that's the reason why, because that is your most vulnerable point for anything to come up, because you're open.
You're open.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that they don't talk about sex enough in church. Because I feel like since the Bible just talks about the marriage bed being pure and, you know, you should be a virgin before you get married. Okay, that's the scripture, but there's no practical application of that. It's like the old mothers in the church who back in the day, if we really want to keep it real, had a baby when they was like 12, but they sent them down south, and so nobody don't know that their niece is really their daughter, you know, and they telling the young girls, baby, you should be a virgin till you get married, but you can't tell me how, because you didn't do it.
Or why.
Or how, what that looks like, or what. Okay, so if I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna be dating when I'm 18, 19, 22, 25, 20, what does that look like? You don't know, Sister Betty, because you ain't do it, and you and the pastor got a baby, but nobody ain't talking about it because you know back in the day they didn't have the internet. Right. So it's like, for the guys too, for the guys especially, so nobody talks about it.
So Jamie, you're saying it's time for honest conversations.
Yeah, real honest conversations, because you can't expect for your daughter to be a virgin till marriage, and you can't tell her how to do that, and you can't expect for your son to be if you can't like give him some practical instruction, like, okay, this how you gonna feel, son, and see, you know, when you do this might happen. Like, I feel like my mom talked to me about sex. I swear I was like 7 the first time she had a conversation with me about sex. And it wasn't like the birds and the bees. It was like a kind of sex conversation that a grown woman would have with her friend type. And I think that because of that, that's the reason. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, like if somebody just telling you, well, just keep it, baby. You know, just hold on to it, baby. It's like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if my mom always used to say, like, you know, it says that in the Bible for a reason. Right. The thing that women usually want to get is the connection. Right. You know, is the intimacy, the connection, but also the commitment. And so it's like, what if what the Bible is telling us to do is to ultimately get the commitment that we want? and we're not following the instructions, we're doing something outside of what the instructions are that's not leading us to what we want in the first place.
Because we can have intimacy without sex.
Right, definitely,
You know,
absolutely.
I find intimacy very enjoyable.
Right.
Outside of the sex. Not saying that, you know, I think, you know, and I think that's another thing. I think that's another thing that has been lost is, or maybe we never even gained it, is the ability to be intimate without actually having intercourse.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
I'll say that being married, if you don't have that, like for some relationships, all they have is sex. So it's like if you take the sex out of the relationship, some people don't have anything else to offer. And like sometimes you'll see people who want marriage but don't know how to get it because they always lead by offering sex.
Yep. Right. Yep.
And some people are gonna take what's easiest. And for a man is like, oh yeah, I'll sleep with you, but I don't like you. If you have a guy friend and you have an honest conversation with him, he'll tell you, oh yeah, there's women I'd sleep with, but I'd never marry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All day. Yeah.
It's never like the opposite because it can't be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It can't be.
So I think that's what happens a lot of times with people. And like when I was in youth groups, to piggyback on what you were saying, they would tell you don't have sex, but they would never tell you why. So I would be the one to be like, why?
Right.
And the pastor would be like, well, God said so. I was like, well, God also said
God also said don't be a glutton, and pastor, you gained
God
a couple
also said he'll forgive me if I sin.
Right, yeah.
So you say don't have sex. I say God forgives me if I sin. So I ask, will God forgive me if I sin? Yes. Sex is a sin, right? Yeah. So if I have sex, God will forgive me? Yeah. I can have sex, God will forgive me, I can still go to heaven? Then he's quiet.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, he will.
Oh, he will. All right, then. All right, then.
It's
Like, what we talking about?
Those drawers.
It's like a mom and a child, right? Mom say, "Do not touch the stove," right?
Right.
Now she's not going to explain, "Don't touch the stove," because the stove's going to burn you and it may burn you and it may. We're not doing all that. Take it for what it's worth. Don't touch the stove.
Right.
And it's the same thing in the church and everything else. Right. People want to ask too much questions.
I was a touch
Just
the
take
stove.
it. They want.
I'm grown and got burns on my hands for touching the stove.
Why? Well, now he gonna tell you why.
He gonna tell you why.
He gonna tell you why.
But don't the word say don't cast your pearls to swines?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
But I was just looking at it that little way because if it was a child, she keep asking you why. He said, okay, well, this is
touch it then.
Touch it.
Touch it then and see what happens.
Pearls to swines. Can somebody? Can
What? Why? Yes. I will let the good reverend.
I'll pass it.
I will let the
I will
good
pass
reverend.
it.
Basically, what the scripture is saying is, do not give what is sacred to them that don't deserve it, or they will. It will blow up in your face.
Right.
Basically,
right.
that's the basic lesson because it's not meant. So you're not gonna, I don't know, give caviar to, I don't know, your dog or something. They won't enjoy it. You know what I mean? They won't appreciate it. Like you gotta save what's special for whom special.
Got you.
And it goes back to what my brother said. If you want to just give it up to a young man or vice versa, a young man to a woman, right? You're not gonna. I mean, why should I marry you?
Right.
But the thing about that too is that there are some people who get married and their husband does not value the intimacy, the sexual act. Like it's like nothing to them with their wife. There are some husbands like that, and those people end up divorced. But that happens. Like there are some people that I, have known, I've talked to, some women have gotten married to men who really just got married to them to have sex. Like they grew up in a church where everybody was talking about, wait till you married, and they waited till they was married because they wanted to have sex. Right. And then when they did, that's really all they got married for.
And that was it.
And that was really it.
Marriage fell flat.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I was like, there are people who, if you take the sex away, they
don't have
Nothing
nothing.
else.
Right.
nothing to offer.
Right. But on the flip side,
that is
you
true.
do kind of need that passion too. So it's like it all works together. It's like God, he joined it all together. He meant for it to all be.
So passion
Together.
and friendship.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No? Passion, friendship.
I mean,
Yeah.
because you
Love.
can't, as much as people enjoy sex, that can't be the only thing.
Yeah, it can't be the only
You
thing.
have to have want that person to be.
But as much as
only
people
thing.
appreciate friendship, that can't be the only thing.
No.
It can't be the only
Initially.
thing. I actually get very annoyed. And I've always been this way. Like, I get very annoyed when, like, boyfriends have been too, like, sexually charged.
Right.
Meaning that, like, say for instance, if we're just sitting and we're watching a movie and I, like, you know, touch him or touch his neck and I'm just being intimate.
Right.
And then, like, okay, I don't mind him rising to the occasion, but it's like, you ready right now? Right now. No, man, like, chill. Tell him to chill. Tell your little friend down there. Calm down. It don't mean anything. Just because I'm touching you and I'm caressing your ear, it does not mean it just, you know what I mean? It does not mean that I'm ready right now.
Right.
That annoys me.
It's annoying.
It annoys me. You know what I mean? Because there has to be more. Because then what it does is it makes me feel like, first of all, it makes me feel like this person has no self-control, no inner discipline, and again, the enjoyment of the intimacy. So it just ruins it. You know what I mean? It annoys me. So as far as passion and friendship, like I said, but it also depends on what do you enjoy? What do you want? What do you enjoy? You know what I mean?
And how do you value yourself? Because you're a queen.
Right.
Right.
You know, you're precious. You know?
Thank you.
Doesn't God say you're one of his?
Yes.
The
own
Mack of
children?
God
Yes.
said we're queens.
You're a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece.
Thank you.
Pastors in the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, the pastor's here.
Yes.
Thank you, the Mack
That
of God.
made me fix my posture.
right. So we all have basically concluded that in 2022,
Yes.
celibacy can happen. But I got a question for both of y'all, okay? So I'm gonna ask y'all first. Ask the ladies first.
Okay.
So you're dating, right? You got two men that you're dating, and you're deciding between which one you're gonna date seriously, okay?
Yes.
Both of them, just handsome, tall, whatever you would feel like a man should be. You know, he makes good money, he's sweet, he's kind, he loves the Lord, he's, you know, not argumentative, like he's all that. One of them is celibate and one of them is not. So one of them you would have to become celibate to be with, and one of them you wouldn't. Which one you pick?
So now are both of them all these things?
Oh, both of them are all these things.
And so the decision making is based on
Whether you feel like being celibate or not, till you get married.
I feel
Or if
like
y'all
being
don't get married,
celibate-
y'all never have sex.
I feel like being. I want to answer first.
okay.
I feel like being celibate.
You would choose the one that you would be celibate with.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you?
Can you do it like this if you say you're gonna feel like being celibate then?
Yeah, you got to like. Yeah, you got to like lift up your hands.
So both of them will possess the same
The same thing.
Qualities.
The same qualities.
and I'm trying to decide between the two.
Yeah. And the celibate one might be a little bit sexier.
In that case, I mean, okay, so I would more than likely be celibate anyway
Why
because
you
I'm not
do
going to
this?
be celibate because I wouldn't be bouncing. I'm not going to be bouncing between. You know, I'm not.
So you gonna pick the celibate?
I'm not going to be.
So you gonna
dickory docking.
right? So you're gonna pick the celibate.
I
route.
would pick the celibate. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So gentlemen, same question for you. You're dating. You got two women.
Nice
You haven't had sex with either one of them yet, but both of them beautiful, can cook. You know, they both got a good job. You know, all your qualifications that you would want a woman to meet. The one that's celibate though is a little bit sexier. Okay, so she just got a little bit more oomph. You know, just a little bit more wagon she's dragging. You know, and you like that. And so you got to make a choice between which one you're going to move forward to the next level of being more serious with. Are you going to go with the celibate route and become celibate? Or are you going to be with the one, you know, you can get it in, you know, right now? Gentlemen. Honestly, no judgment. This is no judgment.
I would have to choose the celibate one.
Honestly. Okay.
Yeah, I actually did that.
Huh?
I did that.
You did that.
when I met my.
Okay, when you met your wife.
So
Okay.
there was like a.
Okay.
Success story.
There were people that I was out doing that
Okay,
with, and I
okay.
still had the chance too. And then
Okay.
before I met her, I kind of shut it down, and then when I met her, like those people were still there, but that I was just like, you know what, this is what I want to be. I don't want to do this. So it was like,
that's amazing. That's real.
It is.
That's
Let's
truly
yes,
love.
wait, let's see if we can give him a round of applause. Oh no, the sound effects are wrong, but that is
But
just.
that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do it.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
everybody would choose the celibate.
Honestly.
I'm gonna say, you know, I definitely was a virgin until I got married. And it wasn't a virgin by default, like because I wasn't allowed to date or something and I was locked in the house. Like I was an actual virgin until I was married. And I will say that it was not difficult in the sense that it was difficult for me to do it. Like, you know, I was tempted so much that I was on fire and I just it wasn't like that. But I will say it's a difficult walk because of what it reveals about the nature of men. And just as a woman, you know, when you desire to be married, and so in a marriage, you know, your husband is going to be the head, and so in order to trust somebody and respect them as the head, you can't look at the whole species as all they want is sex. But when you're a virgin until you're married, it kind of reveals an element about men that's not really that attractive. So I'm gonna be careful how I say this because I don't want to cause anybody to stumble. But there's not many people that I come across. There's not many women that I come across that really had the opportunities to that were an actual virgin until they were married. Like when I have these conversations with people like in church, it's not like, you know, I got a lot of people that, you know, are like, oh yeah, I was a virgin too. Celibate, but virgin is a different thing. So I would say God gives grace anyway. It's not as if you do that, you ain't getting into heaven. Right. But I would say for those who want to take that walk, it's a serious walk and it's necessary to join with people who have done it so that they can give you support. Because from my perspective, from what I did, I'm not going to say it was hard within the realm of, oh, I was just on fire and that could be your experience if that's your vice. Sex really just ain't my vice, so I've never had that experience. But what it reveals about men and what they really want and what's really important to them, it almost kind of can put you in a negative mindset about the beauty of marriage that God designed. So for any young people that want to do that, hit me up on Instagram at Minister Jamie or find me on Facebook at Jamie Knight. You need to talk to somebody who did it. You know, and not just did it by default because they was locked in the closet and their mom said you can't date till you're 32. Somebody that was out here dating with actual men that people would say, well, you need to just go on ahead and have a baby by him and be a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, you need to talk to somebody who really did it, because if not, it can put you in a bad headspace.
So you had opportunities.
I had many opportunities. Right. And it can put you in when you have opportunities like that, and you know, you meet really great guys even that are in the church and in high positions and that are supposed to believe a certain thing outwardly, they say. But then when you go to date them, it's like, oh, I know I said that on the pulpit, but I ain't really mean that. You know, we ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? It puts you in a bad headspace about men. Wow. It really does. And even sometimes your husband, because just because you wait till marriage and you give it to your husband does not mean he really values what you're giving him. Wow. So then you can even start looking at him with the crooked eye. You know what I mean? Because just because he waited, I mean, we ain't with him every second of the day, so you really don't really know if he actually waited for real. You know what I mean? A woman, you can take a medical exam to find out if she's a virgin or not, but you can't, you know what I mean? No man, you can't do that. So it's like it could put you in a bad headspace. So I would say for anybody, any of the old mothers of the church just telling the young girl, be a virgin till you're married, baby, and you know you wasn't one, please direct her to somebody that was. Right. Because it's not really no joke. Not from the perspective of you gonna get so hot and want to do it, which that's one category, but like really of the headspace it can put you in about marriage and about men and about what it is, it'll have you being out here like bye to everybody, and that's not really of God either.
And I also believe that abstaining from sex also too, like you said, there is a huge difference between being a virgin,
a major,
and actually have had sex and then not. You know what I mean? I believe that there is a purification process also too with celibacy. So I definitely believe that what that does is spiritually it does something to you. It does like a purification. Having had sex and then you say, okay, you know what, I'm like in you know, in your case where you know it's like, okay, I did this, I'm doing that. Okay, you know what, now I want to work on, because it's a real internal thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sex is very nature. You know what I mean? So then when you abstain from sex, then you have to draw back in, if whether it's by yourself, with someone, you know what I mean? It's very nurture.
Yeah.
So I believe that there is a nurturing and a purification process that can also come with celibacy. You know what I mean? But no, you are right on the aspect of virginity, and anyone who is struggling and you know with that aspect of whether or not they get so hot and heavy, definitely talk to someone that's been there. Right. Because
if not, it's like you're just gonna be out here, just like, well, okay, I guess I don't know, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, at Church at the Bar, we have decided that in 2022, it is possible to be celibate. It can happen. You can meet somebody that will want to be celibate with you, and you can end up married in a beautiful marriage.
Yes.
You can be a virgin until you're married. I would definitely suggest in either case, you talk to somebody who has done it, because you're going to need instruction. You're going to need direction. You're going to need help. Yeah. Amen?
You're going to need cold showers.
You're going to need cold showers. We thank you guys for listening. This has been Church at the Bar, meeting people where they are. Until next time, bye.